Welcome to TB Collects. This is Tyler, and today I have another new comic book day haul and review to go over the books that I picked up this last week at my LCS. We're going to start out here today with Usagi Yojimbo Wanderer's Road number 4. Still haven't started this one yet, the series yet. I'm going to wait until I get, I think, next month's issue, number 5, and then I'm going to read the first 5, and I'll share my thoughts on the series then. Next up, we have Batman Black and White issue 3. This cover is absolutely fantastic. I love this, and I should have looked up who did it, but it's a beautiful cover. I love the first 2 issues of the Batman Black and White series. This issue, not so much. I didn't really care for a lot of the stories. There was some cool art in there, but this one kind of fell a little flat for me. The first 2 were absolutely great, the stories themselves. This one has a beautiful cover, and I'm still enjoying it. Definitely going to keep picking them up, but this one just didn't. It was interesting because they had some future state stories involving like magistrate and stuff, and the new Batman, and that was kind of cool because I didn't know that they were gonna incorporate that into this. I thought this was just kind of little mini stories and of traditional Batman, but it was cool to see that at least. But like I said, overall I wasn't too big on this issue. And I think this is the last Future State book I'm picking up. So we have Dark Detective, issue 4. This series was absolutely awesome. I loved it. Dan Morrow's art is fantastic. I basically now will read anything he draws just to look at it. I mean, the story inside is really cool, and you find out more, about Bruce Wayne, and there's a conclusion to the story. It was a good conclusion, I thought. So overall, the 4 issues I enjoyed a lot. This and Swamp Thing are probably Flash too. So there's just some pretty big highlights for me in Future State. Not everything was great, and I haven't read everything, but in general, I know a lot of people were disappointed overall with the Future State stories. But I will have to say, Swamp Thing and Dark Detective were 2 standouts for me. Next up, we have Scumbag issue number 5. Remender's my favorite writer, so I had to pick up this series. I was 1 issue behind, so I caught up. I read issue 4 and then 5. This series has a different artist on each issue, and at first it was kind of cool, and I enjoyed it, and I really did like the first 4 issues with the different art styles, but this one I didn't really care for the art style in it. Story-wise, this is crazy. This is crazy violence, sex, drugs, rock and roll. I mean, if you know anything about the story of the Scumbag, it's about a guy who's a scumbag, and I don't know how I feel about the story. It's kind of fading for me. It started off crazy, and I think this is the end of the first run, and so they're the first story arc, and they kind of introduced something in the third. I think it was the 3rd issue of a bigger world, and more going on, and it's still a lot of fun. I'm just kind of hesitant. It's not one of my favorite Remender stories so far anyway. And finally, I picked up all of We Only Find Them When They're Dead. All of these prints. Let me see if I can get all of them, at least in the frame here, so you can see. So got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This was another series that I'm coming into late, and this past week they did these matching various prints. They're not all. Some of the ones like a 2nd print, a 3rd print, a 4th print, a 5th print, a 7th print. It's crazy how many printings of these there are. But this was another series that I had heard really good things about, and from Boom, and along with Seven Secrets. I really, really enjoyed that. Unfortunately, these copies that I got, I don't know if you can see it. You can kind of see it on this fifth one right here. These were literally the last issues in my LCS. So I initially wasn't gonna pick these up, and then I saw that they were the last ones of each issue. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna buy all 5 of them. And unfortunately, there's some pretty bad color rub on these white covers. Again, I'm not huge on condition. As long as it's not beat to heck, it's fine with me. But it was a little disappointing because there's some on these white covers. There's some pretty bad color rub from these. But again, like I said, they were the last issues that were in my LCS. So went ahead and picked them up anyway. As far as the story goes, being that I'm getting all 5 of them all at once, I was able to read the entire story as opposed to waiting a month in between. The art in it, first off, it's very looks not computer generated, but very I'm assuming it's computer colored, and I know a lot of them are, but it has a very kind of cleanness about it. It's very futuristic. If you don't know what this story is, these salvage workers work in these ships, spaceships, and they go and salvage parts off of these gods, and we only find them when they're dead. The name of the series. They go and find these gods floating in space, and they're dead. And in this universe, people go and salvage anything they can, the meat from the gods. The main character that we're following is a captain of a ship that is going and salvaging meat off of this god. And I'm assuming, we don't get a ton about the world that they're taking it back to, which is something that I kind of wanted a little more from this story, of like how this world works. It spends a lot of time about following the main character and their story, but the world around them that you're in isn't fleshed out as much as I would like. I want a little bit more about how we got to this point and what they're doing. You kind of hear there's these like essentially cops that follow all these salvage ships out to these gods and keep people in check, and there's regulations and stuff, and that part of it is kind of you don't really know who's in charge, or like, is this a some sort of galactic federation that's like controlling who gets what part of the god. I feel like it needs a little more explanation. It's a cool concept for sure. The characters in there, like I said, you're mainly following one character, but you do get a little background of some of the other main characters. It is it's interesting for sure, but like I said, I feel like I need more kind of world building to kind of know what's going on, and it's very centered on the main plot involving this main character, and honestly, I'm not feeling really attached to him. So it's a solid book. I had heard from one person that it's a good series, but not as good as Seven Secrets, and I would tend to agree with that. It's fun. I love sci-fi, so the setting and all of that, and like I said, the core concept that they have to go and find these gods floating in space, like where do they come from, that kind of stuff. So hopefully they explore that in the next arc, and like I said, more of that background. So maybe it's just a slow burn read. They're planning much farther ahead, and so we're just getting a little snippet in these 5 issues of the main character and his struggle. And so I do enjoy it. I'm probably going to continue to pick them up now, probably now that I'm caught up to current, and going to start picking them up as they release. But it's pretty cool. If you've read any of these titles, it's a shorter video. I didn't pick up as much. I'm kind of honestly focusing a little bit more on picking up trade paperbacks and that kind of stuff for back issues, because trying to go back and buy singles to get old stories is not very economical. And then if you're hit with, one of those runs where there's a key in it or something, and it costs you more than the rest of the entire run put together, it just doesn't make a ton of sense. So I think now, moving forward, I'm still going to pick up singles to pick up the new stories that are current. But as far as back issues, I'm going to probably steer more towards trades and that kind of stuff, because it just doesn't make any sense to, for me, like I said, as a collector, I don't really care about the condition, so I'm not buying them for value. I'm buying them to read them, and so as long as I can read them some way, a trade paperback works out great for me. So like I said, short video, not as much this week, but let me know what you think about these series. If you have other series to recommend, I'm always looking for new recommendations. I was out of comics for a long time. I was in during New 52, that era, 2011, 12, that time frame, and then I got out for a long time, and I just got back in last year, and so I'm really catching up on a lot of things, and so, I lean more towards independence just because, the stories can go anywhere and have a little bit different feel than DC and Marvel, but any run I'll really check out at least. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week.